And we're back again. I'm Shawn with DevoApparel.store, and this is Inspired Conversations. And today I have a very special guest, Keidra, on stage. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I've already asked you that question, but we have to do the proper rollout. I'm excited that you're here today, though.
Yes, I'm excited to be
I've
here.
been
Thank
checking
you for
out your
having me.
music and checking out everything you're doing, and yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So as we get the conversation going, what got you into music? I mean, that is a question that I always start with because I feel like everyone's reason is going to be a little bit different. You know, you get like some of the similarities of, going through certain things. It's an
hmm
expression, so if I'm going through pain or I'm going through struggle or whatever, I can express myself through music. But yeah, what got you into just not just appreciating music, but wanting to do music? Because everyone who appreciates it or escapes through it doesn't actually do it. You know what I mean? So what got you into
Yeah,
doing it?
yeah. Well, I think it was just I was just born with music in my heart to like write songs and just sing because as far as I can remember, I was like 6 years old and I just decided to write a song. It was
Mm,
just the idea to write a song. I don't know where it came from. I was six and I even performed it in my living room for my mom and my dad. And like this was like I was probably 6 or 7 because it was like the first time I remember seeing my dad because I was raised by my mom. And
I
so my
got
dad
you.
was kind of just in and out of my life. And so I just wrote this song and it was called I'm a Star, and I was performing it and everything. So I don't know. I was like 6 or 7 years old. That's where it came from. And like from there, I mean, being in church, I was in a church choir. I think
Okay.
my family was catching on to that. My family was catching on to the fact that I sing. Like, oh, Keidra likes to sing because she's always doing singy stuff. And so I was in the church choir, and then I joined the choirs at school, and yeah, and I just was like, yeah, this is. I think I like this. This is what I want to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love
Yeah.
how you described it as like being born to do it. Because I feel like when you're
Yeah.
living what your passion is, you're living in your purpose, right? Like
Oh,
when you
definitely.
find your passion unlocks your purpose.
Yes.
And it's in your purpose that you're truly living the life that you're meant to live. And it doesn't, I mean, even as I'm explaining it, it's not like this huge revelation where people are like, oh, whoa, I never thought of it that way. It's subtle, but it hits different when you're experiencing it.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Yeah.
I think like when you find that thing you're passionate about and it is it just becomes what you think about. You see what I'm saying? Like it's always on your mind
Yeah.
because I have
Every day.
people. Yeah, and I want to kind of unpack that. Like when you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about doing music, right, as a career, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why I want to start there. Like,
hmm
what got you into music? And I love how you started with it was just something I love. Like, it's just something that's a part of me. It comes out of me. It's
Yeah.
just what I was at 6. I'm writing songs. Like, who does that? You know what I mean? Like,
I kn-
it's pouring
that's
out.
what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. I didn't know of a songwriter. I don't think and I like to say that my family's not musically inclined, meaning no, we love music. I was raised on music. My grandmother blasted her records. Like, it's crazy. Every household had big speakers. Music was the thing. We was always the family, the house, whether I go to my cousin's house, my auntie's house, my grandmother's house, who played the loudest music. Music, oh my God, I was overtaken by music. But when I say like we was not,
Ooh.
I'm sorry, but when I say we were not musically inclined, meaning, I mean, I don't have a musical background.
Mm.
I'll say that. So like my mother didn't do music, my father didn't do music. I don't have any aunts or uncles that know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. We wasn't around, I mean, in the church, but I just wasn't there. And even the people that were connected in music, like going to studios that were big and things like that, I had like a rough childhood. So and I'm a minor. I can't go and try to do these things for myself. I have other things I'm worried about. I was kind of, placed in child cares. I was in different households. So people couldn't really tend to me like how I wish they could have, to unpack everything and all the mechanical issues I have today and things like that. Like, I wasn't able to be, just taken and then, given this opportunity to do what I love to do as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what it was like for me. Cause I'm like, so now I'm just like, now I can do it. Now I'm like an adult now. So I wake up thinking about music. My life is money, my health, my family, and God first, of course, but in
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
That's my life now.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like once again it's about that passion. Like that passion does that to where it's like any time that you look at someone who has like this huge success in their life, right? And I'm a firm
Mhm.
believer that success is subjective. Okay, so we
Okay.
oftentimes look at success as like, in terms of music, let's just say, it's a million records, it's $1 million, it's you know what I mean? It's like this
Yeah.
certain status or stature. But to me, I think Dave Chappelle said it best. He was talking to his dad about doing comedy, and his dad was like, just name your price, right? And he said,
Mhm.
because if it ever gets too much or whatever, and he said, because there's a lot of people who don't make it. And he told his dad, he said,
Mhm.
well, that depends on what making it is. Because you're a teacher, and if I can make a teacher's salary doing comedy, then I think that's better than being a teacher. And it was the idea that to him, making it was being able to do the thing that he loved, right?
Yeah.
The thing that he was
Yeah.
gifted with, too, and do it in a way that provided for his needs. He didn't necessarily need the greatest comic of all time. He didn't necessarily need all of these titles or accolades or anything like that. All that he needed
Right.
was is to have a living provided from it and really just do the thing that he was put on this earth to do. And I think that that is really what
Yeah.
life is about. When you find what you're passionate about, it's work, but it's not.
Uh-huh.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah.
kind of like
It's
your gift is the thing that you do the best with the least amount of effort.
definitely. Yeah. And it's only work because of the like technical things that happens in the background.
Yeah, yeah.
um Everything is going to require some type of order.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter, we could be waking up and baking cakes all day and that's just fun, but you have to wake up, you have to make sure um what the measurements, that you have to go to stores and go get these items, you have to stand in lines. I mean, it's work, but I mean, but it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing like, I mean, getting up and going to work for somebody else. You dread that the whole way through,
Yeah.
but not when you have a passion for something.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was wanting to paint a picture of is because trying to help people understand, and that's what this show's all about, is like the people that you see pursuing their dream, like you or anyone else that people can look at and say, oh, I know their
Mhm.
music or I see them, they're no different than you. They're
Right.
people who had passions and dreams and they turned them into reality because they didn't give up. You know what I mean? They kept pursuing it.
Yeah,
They kept doing it. They put the work in. So there is a lot of work that goes into it. But when it's what you're
definitely.
passionate about, that work flows out of you.
Yeah, and then that's where the phrase "it's worth it" come from. Like,
Yeah,
it's worth
exactly.
it. Yeah.
Exactly. So at a young age, 6, you're writing songs and you're like, okay, this is it. And like you said, you got into a little bit of your childhood, and I really resonate with that because I did not have a great childhood. I'll just say that. But so I definitely resonate with that. When did music stop being just something that was an expression and something that you were like, this is my career, like this is what I'm going to do with my life? Or was it always that?
It was always that. And
Mm,
then also too,
I love that.
people always like, People always ask like what inspires you to write and things like that. The fact that I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. There's, I mean, there's little trinkets and stuff like that, but I've never gotten mad and be like, I'm about to write, or I never been like so in love where I'm like, I'm about to write about being in love. I don't. I I'm inspired by certain people to keep going. You know, like my favorite artist is Tony Braxton,
Hmm.
Michael Jackson. I love Jasmine Sullivan, Brandy, you know, Tupac. So I'm inspired by these people to keep going, and to be myself,
Yeah.
and not necessarily write about a certain thing. Like my days doesn't make me want to write. I could be cooking and I'm like, I want to listen to some beats, and um and I find a beat that's speaking to me, and whatever that beat is telling me to do, I'm kind of gonna probably be rebellious and go against that beat and write something that probably somebody else probably wouldn't have heard from that, or I don't know. I'm just, my whole system is just different. I don't, yeah, write on things that I'm going through. Although I have a few songs where I'm talking about certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like my nephew was in jail, he was facing life, and I decided to um write a song about him. And that happened. And I was like, oh, I could do this. You know, the whole inspiration thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like your response there. Kind of going back to the first part of the response where you said, you know, like there was never a moment where I didn't think that this is what I was going to do with my life, you know, and I think that that is so key. Once again, not to be so repetitive, but it's key in what you want to do in your life, realizing that like when you find that thing that you can't help but do, it's kind of like the moth to a flame, right? Like it does not matter if you have a bug zapper out there or not. Those bugs are just going to come to it because they can't help it, right?
Yeah, I can't help it. That's me. That's the story of my life. With helping people. Because I mean, aside from singing, I make a living for myself. I'm a CNA.
Yeah.
So, yeah, helping people, helping elderly people, helping children with autism, and you know, things like that. I do that, and I do music.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
It comes natural.
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of what I'm really hitting the head on right now in the first half of this is just get with what you're passionate about, because that makes the difference. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like I love having conversations about stuff like this. The part that I hate is video editing. I do not enjoy that. I hate that. I don't like it. I don't care. I would rather just put everything out with all the blemishes and all the like getting up to go use the bathroom and stuff like that. Like I don't care about video editing. I know it has to get done though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But the fact that I love what we're doing right now allows me the effort and the energy and the time to do all the other. You know what I mean? Like I don't enjoy, well, I mean I do, but like I said before we started this interview, like I've been home 4 days in the last month. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily awesome being in a hotel every day and just having to always be like back and forth, but at the same time it's 100% worth it because I know I'm living in what I was put on this earth to do. You know, which is to try to help encourage and motivate people that no matter what your story is right now, if there's something about that story you don't like, you're holding the pen.
Definitely. Yep.
And
I agree.
So, it's awesome. So, you talked a little bit about it, but what's the process? Because you led into that, which is awesome that you just led into the next question. But like, when you're talking about writing songs, I love the creativity process of how you get inspired. Because like you said, it may not necessarily be, oh, I went through this, let me write about this. I just had a breakup, let me write about it. Or I experienced this as a kid, let me write about it. So what's the process look like for you on a daily basis of doing music? Like, how does the process of coming up with the songs, which you led into a little bit, going from an idea to the writing to recording to putting it out, like what's your daily process look like? I know it's kind of a just a wide question, but you can bring it down to
no,
earth
yeah.
however you see fit.
Yeah, no, I totally understand the question. Um, and everybody's different.
Yeah.
Everybody is different. I also too I want to say that I go days without even thinking about any of my songs. I do, because I may be thinking about how I'm going to market myself or how I'm going to brand myself.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
a lot of times I don't even think about my songs. That's just in the back of my head. The reasons why I'm even having promo thoughts and marketing thoughts is all because of my music. But um, typically, a music day for me will be, I probably just was like, in the mood. Let me listen to some beats. Probably heard something that go crazy. I'm about to write to it. And then I write to it. I'm like, oh my God, this go crazy. So I book a session. I hit my person at Shawn V with Our Black Studios here in Oakland. Um, I hit him up and I'm like, book a session, get in my session, record the song. And I got to stop doing this, but now, because I have to stop doing this, but I get in there, I record the song, I like it, and it's a light mix on it. I do not leave the studio with it mixed and mastered, meaning I don't know when I'm getting back in the studio. And I probably got inspired by another song to where I'm sitting on songs because it needs to be mixed and mastered in order for me to put it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it take a while for me to even put songs out. And then I'm like, is this even good? Did this even, I mean, I like the song, but do I need more harmonies on it? So I go weeks and sometimes months with those thoughts. Like, I'll probably put something else out before that song. It's just, it varies with me. It's all over the place. Very seldom. I think probably once or twice. No, probably one time, honestly.
Yeah.
I probably went into the studio, recorded the song, and then that same day or that same week put it out. No. I'm like a perfectionist. Yeah, I'm like a perfectionist. It's so crazy. And I'm like, I be needing people behind me and pushing me and like, no, you just left the studio. No, put it out. I go to the studio, have fun recording my song. Like, hey, I got a song, and it's just on my hard drive or in my email. Like, and then I'm listening to it because I love it so much. But what about your fans, Keidra? What about your supporters? Like, they want the music. So that's how I work. That's how I work. But I am working on those things because I'm like, I've had a couple conversations with different people about me, and they like, oh my God, Keidra, you're like the total package. The one thing that we see that you are kind of lacking is consistency and dropping your music. So I need to drop the music. Actually, I don't have like a lot of music. I like a huge catalog. I do not have that. I have 2 albums out. 2 albums, yeah. Oh no, an EP, an album, a mixtape, and like some singles that I'm featured on with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should have more than that because of all the times I've been in the studio.
Well, and this is why the process question to me is always so much fun because once again, I think there's a couple of like things that we can pull away for someone who's listening, whether they're doing music or not. One, everyone's process is different. I think a lot of times we feel like we have to be cookie cutters, right? Like this is how you do it. This is how you don't do it, right? Like I can even remember, I don't know how old you are, but I'm in my 30s. I don't keep up with my age, so I just know 30s. I don't really know exactly how far it is. But regardless, I can remember, you mentioned Tupac earlier. When Tupac was out, song structure was a certain way, right? You have 16-bar verses, you have 8-bar hooks, 4-bar hooks. Like, things were, like, structured. Now, you might have a song, since Trinidad James came out, you might have a song that's like 24 bars in the verse and two hooks. Like, and
Yeah,
it's a
I
minute
know.
long, you know? And
Yeah.
but my point is not everything has to be cookie cutter. Not
Yeah.
everything has to look the same or be packaged the same. And so just because my process might be this may not mean that the next person's process has to be that. They can carve their
Yeah.
own niche, they can carve their own lane. And so I love the fact that you were like, you know, like not every day's a music day for me. Some days it's a marketing day, some days it's a music day, but it all flows and works together to do the thing that I wanted to do. But then I also love the second pull away was is that we can always get better at what we do. And I thought it was really neat how
Definitely.
you sat there and you reflected and was like, but you know, I do need to like just start dropping some of the music. But then
Yeah.
as you were talking about the people that you listen to, right? Some of your influences, like you named Michael Jackson, perfectionist, right?
Hmm.
Like, then
Yeah.
you named Tupac, who I would say is more of a, I mean, legend, but like at the same time, he recorded a lot of music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he recorded a
Yeah.
lot of music very quickly and just kind of like,
Yeah.
let's just get this out here. Let's just get it out.
I think so. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think that it makes sense in your words that you said, I'm kind of all over the place. Like, I'm a perfectionist, but I record a lot of music. I'll let you, you know, it's like, it makes sense with the influences you named that you have a style that's a blend of both. You know, like I know how to just knock out
Yeah.
songs and put them out if I wanted to do that, but I also know what
Yeah.
it's like to work on a body of work and then release that. And
Yeah.
I think both
Yeah.
are needed. You know what I mean? Like I think both expressions work for the person. So I'm always interested to get into the mindset of like what that process looks like for you
Yeah.
and what you're
Yeah.
doing and what you're wanting to accomplish.
Definitely. Yeah. That's pretty much what I have going on. Just kind of even having those people as like my aspiring, artists that I look up to and I love to listen to. I can see where I probably am doing or believe that I should be doing things a certain way, probably the way that they did them. That's just how I know how to do things.
Yeah.
Um, I'm like an old soul in the industry in this business. So yeah, I mean, but I'm gonna just go with the flow of just how I feel too. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So right now, what is your mindset that you have and have maintained to get as far as you have doing your music and where you want to go in doing your music?
You said like, what's my mindset? Where am I at mentally with that? Like,
Yeah, when I refer to mindset, I know it's kind of like just a broad question, but the idea of like where is your mind at with goals and what you want to accomplish
oh,
and like how that shapes the here and now, but also how that shapes the future. Like what does that look like for
oh
you?
yeah. Um, my goal right now, and or my mindset around all of that is I would love to I am going to start being more consistent so that I can see results.
Mm.
Um I would I want the results I want to see is more people and their reaction to my music. Um any reaction, whatever reaction that they have, I want to know where I'm at with that because I know where I'm at with it in my heart. Like,
Yeah.
I love my music. I love my writing. I can always get better and I'm open to learning new things, new techniques. I just want to see my supporters and my followers react to it, like enjoy my music. I want it to be in a on different continents, in different countries, in which I just recently traveled to Africa.
Yeah.
Um, I traveled with the award-winning group Tony, and I was on tour with them, and to know that, like, I went there because I'm an artist.
Yeah.
Oh, the sky is not the limit. Is it's I can go far because Africa is very far. You know,
Yeah.
I could go
Just
far.
to
And
like,
so,
I just wanted to come in real quick and say, I love how you just said the sky is not the limit.
no,
I
I
just
don't
had to
think
say
the
that.
sky
Like
is the
that
limit.
is so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Because that's
It's
so true.
not.
I think that we put ceilings over ourselves, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of times the ceilings are based on stuff that oftentimes was out of our control, right? So it's the
Yeah.
environment, it's whatever, your resource, your lack of resource, whatever. We
Hmm.
put ceilings on us that oftentimes are a result from other things or other people. Someone
Yeah.
said this about
Yeah.
you, so now that's your ceiling. You know, you were in this situation, that's your ceiling. And so we
Definitely.
allow these ceilings to be above us. And in reality, the only one that is keeping us under that ceiling is us.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
it. Especially
Definitely.
in the landscape that we're in now with the internet and what you can
Uh-huh.
do from
Yeah.
Kentucky to Oakland. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it does not
No, yeah.
it does not matter anymore. Where before, if I was to try to break out from Kentucky or you from Oakland, like we would have to travel, we would have to get in, get millions of CDs pressed up, and just start like selling them at gas
Yeah.
stations and different neighborhoods,
Hmm.
and you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and do a masterpiece style. But we don't have to do that now. Um, and so yeah. Anyways, you got my mind going when you said the sky's not the limit. Please continue. It's just
No,
like it pumped me
no.
up when you said that. I was like, damn, that's good.
No, yeah, no, you're fine. No, the sky is not the limit. And you know, you could do whatever you want to do. Like, it, I had fun when I traveled to Africa, and just so kind of seeing people react to my music there. Um, I was like, okay, I need this everywhere.
Yeah.
I know that everybody's not gonna like me or my music or whatever, but for the most part, they'll respect it because I got up to do something that I was afraid to do for so many years. There, you know, there was a huge gap from when I was a kid until my teens or in my 20s, where I decided I'm gonna take this more serious. Um, and that was like age 25 or something, where I decided to get up and just like, you know, and take it serious. But I definitely want my music to touch all places of the earth. I want I would love to get to a point where my music is taking care of me and my family.
Yeah.
Um, if I decide to do something like elderly care for, you know, care for the elderly, then I want to do it because it's in my heart to do it and I have time to do it. Um, and I may volunteer or something. But I just want my craft to be able to get me to a point where I'm caring for myself, where I can travel. And this is all about my music, you know. I want to get to that point. Right now, I'm like, I'm just working on being consistent
Yeah.
and staying true to myself.
Yeah. I think that's so important to live your truth. And like you said, to realize the sky is not really the limit. The limit is whatever you set it to be.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
whatever the goal is, you can accomplish it, right? If you put
Hmm.
in the work, if you put in the time, if you put in the effort, there's no way that you can't get to the destination that you want to get to. There
Hmm.
may not be an easy road paved to that. You know what I mean? There's not always an easy route paved to what we want to do. But
Yeah.
ultimately, if we have something within us that we feel like we were put on this earth to do, there's a way for us to do it. We just have to get to that way, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, there's so much that I love that you just shared there. But one of the things that really wanted to speak on was the consistency. You talked about consistency and
Hmm.
like I said, we have similar stories because, like you were saying, like the childhood thing, which we didn't really go into detail, but I know what it's like to grow up, like, just not in the perfect, you know, fairy tale book looking home or anything like that. And then to not, and I know you had found your passion at a young age, and I had found mine at a young age. I just didn't know how it would take shape, right? Like sometimes we're passionate about something and sometimes we know that that's exactly what we want to do. We just don't know how it'll be packaged, right? So
Yeah.
when I would go through the difficult moments as a kid, I knew that I had to get through that shit so that I could help someone else get through that shit. I just didn't know what it would look like to get someone through that shit. You know what I mean? I didn't know it would be doing interviews and going out here. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know that it would be packaged like that. But I just knew that that was the reason I was put on this earth. Like, I'm experiencing this pain, and the purpose in it for me is to help other people see that they have purpose to their life and their value isn't equated to what they've been through or what someone said about them. Right? And
Definitely.
so I
Yeah.
knew that at a young age, but I didn't know, it wasn't until, man, probably 30. Because I'm 30 something. I just don't know what the something
Okay.
is. But I'm in the 30. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
I think it was
Gotcha.
around 30 that I realized, like, this is what I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
now, like you said, it's just been, just make that consistent. Just make that a
Yeah.
daily part of your life, because similar to you, this kind of stuff just pours out of me. Like, I'm not up here just writing out speeches every day or anything like that. It just comes to me, and when it comes to me, I
Yeah.
write. And when it comes to me, I'll do a video. And when it comes to me, and what I'm finding is it comes to me more the more consistent I am. If I have a routine that matches my
Yes.
passion, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I wake up
Yeah.
at the same time every day, now my day, and then I do the same routine every morning. Like, I read affirmations to myself. I have all these pictures on my wall for a reason, because every single one of them remind me of something that I said is a goal in my life. You can't see the other side here, but I have like more on this side that's like exactly what I want to do with
Mm-hmm.
my life. And
Oh yeah.
even
Nice.
up top here, which I don't know if I can even show you this. There's like little sayings
Oh.
up top,
Oh.
like my little
Okay. That's nice.
affirmations. And so I created my office space to constantly remind myself that I have a dream. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
goal, that there's a reason to my existence, and that it's going to take my consistent effort to make that dream a reality. It's not just going to happen. It's not just going to fall
That's
in my lap. It's going to have to be
no.
intentional.
It's gonna have to be intentional, definitely. And I wrote a mental health song. It's called "Get Up." Um, and I wrote that song because I didn't understand what mental health was. And us as I think Black people, we tend to throw around the word bipolar, like, oh, you bipolar, N- that's a serious situation.
It is,
So
yeah.
I'm like, I have a couple bipolar people in my family, and I didn't write the song based on them being bipolar, but there's other things that people don't even know is like mental health issues, financial situations and job placement, not finding a job. It's so much
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And because of just everything that happened, I wrote the song called Get Up. It's a mental health awareness song. And it was to help people change their perspectives. Like, help them to be intentional about their day,
Mm.
to get up and do something, get up and
Yeah.
do anything. Like, you just in a bed feeling some type of way, just get up and just go do something, clean the bathroom. That's gonna probably lead you to do something else. You'll be inspired somewhere along there to do something else. So you just got to get up, and that's that song. I'm gonna push it. I shot the video in Africa. Um, I shot a music video to that song in Africa. I felt like that was like the perfect place to do
Yeah.
it. But yeah. So I totally understand what you mean by being intentional and changing your perspective, and just kind of just pulling yourself out of that place, like you're doing with the notes and everything. Me too. I
Mm-hmm.
all the time I'm writing something all the time to just kind of remind myself about my purpose.
Yeah.
Honor to be a part of this show. I never did a show where like I've gotten on the mental level of things.
Yeah.
Um Sometimes things are just so brief and just so, kind of sped past. But no, I appreciate it. You going into depth of a lot of the things that I have going on. This is very inspiring. I as far as my music, have you heard my mental health song?
I have not. That's why when you told me
I
that, I
will.
was like,
Yeah.
oh, I gotta find
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Well, so it's not out yet. It's called Get Up. I'm gonna shoot it. I'm gonna have it sent to you because so you can hear it.
Yes, I
Um.
would love to.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm pushing that. I'm pushing some interviews that I've had around my trip to Africa on blacknewworldmedia.com. Um, and just my EP. My Instagram is Keidra on stage. Yeah, I just shot a video to I just dropped the video to my new single Body. It's the link is in my bio.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's what I have going on right now.
Awesome.
And I
Awesome.
plan to go back to Africa. I'm going back to Africa to continue to I collaborated with artists there. I'm working on those songs now, and I'm gonna go back to Ghana and do some more music work
That's awesome.
and hopefully community work too. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
yeah.